Hello everyone. So in this video we will solve a really interesting coding interview question. So the question is that given two string s and t, return true if you can make them equal by exactly one edit. So what is one edit here? So one edit can be, we can insert one character into s to get t, or we can delete one character from s to get t, or we can replace one character of s with the different character to get t. Okay, so our task is to do this one of this operation and make s equal to t. So let's say that if s is ab, okay, and t is acb, so here we can do one insertion in s. So if we insert c in s, then s will equal to t, right? Because s will become acb. Okay, similarly, if s is abc and t is ab, okay, here we can delete c from s, then s equal to t. Okay, what other option we have? We can also replace one character. So let's say that if we have abc and acc, so here again we can replace b with c. Okay, so if we replace this b with c, so our s will become acc and t will also become acc, and both are equal. Okay, so let's say that we have s is abc and t is abc. Here the string is equal, but it is not validating the fact that we need to do one edit at least. Okay, so here we will return false. Okay, similarly, if we have abc and in t we have abcdx, so it is not possible. Again we will return false. Why? Because we can maximum do only one edit, right? So here we need more than one edit. Okay, so that's why we will return false. So one thing we will observe in this question is that if any point, if the length difference between s, if the length difference between s and t, so we are doing absolute, might be s can be also be greater or t can also be greater, right? So if the length difference between s and t is greater than 1, right? So it's mean that we will always return false, right? Because if the length difference between s and t is greater than 1, so it's mean that minimum we need 2 edit, right? But in the question it's given that we need to do only one edit. Okay, so this is the edge case, that corner case. So if absolute, what is absolute? Absolute is basically doing the mod operator. So if let's say that length of s is 3 and t is 5, so the difference will be minus. So what absolute will do? Absolute will make it positive. So here we need to just take the positive difference between that, between this. Okay, so now come to the code part. Okay, so how we are going to implement this part? Okay, so we will initialize one count variable which will tell me how many edit we have done so far. Okay, similarly we will have one I pointer which will point to s. Similarly we will have j pointer which will point to t. Okay, now we will iterate on both the string. So while I less than length of s and j less than length of t. Now let's say that if s of I is not equal to t of j, right? So let's say that if both the string are not equal. Okay, so first condition we will check that if count equal to 1. If our count is equal to 1, what does it mean? It's mean that we have already done one edit and still we are in this loop, right? So what does it mean? It means that we need to return false. Okay, so let's take one example. Let's say that S is D and E. Okay, and here S is D and T is AB. Okay, so let's say, so when I is here and J is here, and let's say that initially the count is 0. So what we will do, we replace D with A. Okay, and then we increase I and J both. Okay, now again this is a mismatch, right? So this condition replicate this condition only, that we are still in the loop and count will become 1. Okay, so in this scenario we will return false. Okay, now let's go further and check what other condition might happen. Okay, so just give me a minute. Okay, so let's say that the other condition will be that if length of T is greater than length of S. So in this scenario, what we can do, we can insert an element in S. So let's understand it by taking an example. Let's say that our S is B and C. Okay, and T is ABC. Okay, initially I is here and J is here, and we can satisfy this condition that Si of I is not equal to T of J and count is equal to 0. So again we also bypass this if condition. Now here we can see that length of T is greater, okay, then S. So it's mean that we need to insert one element. So let's assume that we inserted one element here virtually and we move this pointer J. Okay, now J is here and my I is still at the 0th index. Okay, so this condition replicate insertion. Okay, similarly, what will be the other condition for the deletion? So else if, let's say that if length of S is greater than length of T. So let's say that we have ABC and S equal to ABC and T equal to DBC, and I is here and J is here. Okay, so here we can see I not equal to J. Okay, and still count is still 0. So obviously we again bypass this if condition. So here we can check that. Okay, so length of S should be greater than T. So let's say that let's make length of S greater than T. So let's I'm just changing the value of T here. So let's say that T equal to BC only. Okay, so my jth pointer is here, right? So since the length of S is greater than T, so we need to delete one character. Okay, so let's say we have deleted this A and we move the I to the first index. Okay, at the at B. Okay, so here we will increment our I. Okay, and this is simulating. This is doing the deletion part, right? Similarly, what will be the last case? The last case is that the replacement case. Okay, so here let's say that what if the situation is S is ABC and T is DBC. Okay, so here we can check that both the character are not same, right? So what we will assume that okay, we have replaced A with D and we will move I and J at the same time. So we will increment I with 1 and J with also 1, right? And this part is doing the replacement part, right? Okay, and finally after doing all this if else, finally we will increment our count also. Why we are incrementing our count? Because either we are doing any one of this operation, okay, if we are inside this if condition, okay. So either it will return false. If this is not returning false, it's mean either we have done the insertion, deletion or replacement, so we are incrementing the count here. What will be the else part? What will be the else part for this? So if sfi equal to t of j, it means that we need to increment both our I and j. So let's say that if s equal to abc and t equal to abc, okay, or abd for example. So I is here, j is here. So initially I equal to j. So in this case again we will increment I here and j also here. Again we will check whether I and j are equal. So again these are equal. So it means that we will increment I here and j is here. Now here we have we will see I is not equal to j, t of j. Okay, so we are in this if condition. Okay, so inside this if condition, in what condition this will fall? So this will fall under this condition because the length of s and t is same. So we will again increment our I and j parallelly. Okay. Okay. So this is our pseudocode. One more thing we are missing, that after iterating all the part. Okay. So let's say that we iterated all the part and let's say that s equal to abc and t equal to abcd. So when I will be here and j will be here, so again sfi equal to t of j. So I will come here and j will come here, but this while loop will break. Okay, why? Because I is equal to length of s here. Okay, so at last after this while loop we need to check if I is less than length of s or j is less than length of t. In both the cases we need to increment count plus equal to 1. Okay, so let's say that this is one scenario. Other scenario can be that if s equal to abcd and t equal to abc, again this loop will break. So here why we are incrementing count? We are incrementing count if this scenario come, that if at the end of the day our s is greater than d, and it will be then we will do the deletion here, right? And if this scenario came at the end of after the while loop, then we will insert in the d. In both the cases we need to increment count, right? And finally we will just return that if count equal to 1 or not. Okay, so this is the whole code, and we will also do the coding part. Then might be it will become more clear. Okay, thank you. Hello, let's see the code of one iterative distance. Okay, so as we discussed about the corner cases, that if the difference between the length of s and t is greater than 1, so it's means that we need more than one insert or delete to make them equal, right? So they can't be one edit apart. So let's put that part in the code, that if length of s minus t, absolute length, is greater than 1, then we will return false, right? Now let's define the variable. So we will have a count variable which will keep track of how many edit we have detected so far. Similarly, we have two pointer I and j, which the I will iterate over s and j will iterate over t, right? Similarly, we have this loop condition. So this loop will break until the end of either one of this string. Okay. So we will first check if s of I not equal to t of j. In this scenario, it means that when character at current position don't match, it's a potential candidate for edit, right? So before doing the edit, we first check that whether we have already done any edit or not in the past. So if count equal to 1, it's mean that we have already done the edit in the past. So we will simply return false here. Okay. Now let's come to the edit part. So if length of t is greater than length of s, it's mean that we need to insert the character in s. So in this scenario, we will increment j, right? Else if length of s is greater than length of t, it's mean that we need to delete the character in s, right? So we will increment the ith point. Else we need to do the replacement. In the case of replacement, we will increment both I and j, right? And after this doing the edit, we will increment our count variable also. Okay. And there will be a else condition for this, if both the character s of I match with t of j, so we will increment I and j here, right? Now let's come uh, after this loop. What if this loop will break? If this loop will break in two conditions only. The first condition will be if I is less than length of s. If I is less than length of s, it means that the length of s is greater than length of t, and we need to delete one character from s. Okay. Or if j is less than length of t, it's mean that length of t is greater than length of s, so we need to insert one character in s. So you can take the example like s equal to abc and t equal to abcd, or s equal to abcd and t equal to abc, right? So the in the first scenario, which we can see that j is less than length of t, so here we need to insert one character in s, right? Or if I is less than length of s, so this will be the condition that here we need to delete the this d here, right? Okay. So in both the scenario, we need to increment our count here, right? And finally we will just return whether count equal to 1 or not. Okay. So let try to run this code and see whether we are able to submit or not. So finally we are able to submit this code. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.